I couldn't think of a better way to kick off the gay high holy days than making a trip to the Metropolis Performing Arts Center on June 7th to see the hilarious Jen Kober, and she just happens to be on the phone right now. Hello, Jen Kober.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good.
Great.
How are
How
you,
are
Jen?
you?
I am on the ground again. My plane got delayed this morning. I had a gig last night in Syracuse, and so I was flying in this morning, and I was supposed to get here at 10:30, which meant that I was going to have plenty of time to be in my cute little skivvies and chilling out when y'all called. And now my plane got delayed, so I literally just touched down. I am outside of the New Orleans airport with lots of tourists staring at me as to why I'm having a conversation with my phone.
Well, I'm sure you're used to having people stare at you, especially
Yes, I am.
because you're native to Louisiana, right?
I am. I own a house down here, and then I have an apartment in Los Angeles because I'm on TV.
Because you're fancy pants like that.
Are you from New Orleans proper? Are you from one of the nearby areas, Metairie, or?
Okay, so I was born here. This is what Southerners do. We tell you where we were born.
Yeah.
I was born in Metairie, but I grew up in Lake Charles, which is over by Houston.
Yep.
We're on the Texas side of Louisiana. And now our house is in Baton Rouge, so it's wonderful. I love it down here. But also, it's hotter than the devil's butthole.
Oh.
So I got to get out.
Yeah. Going there, I lived in Memphis, Tennessee for a very long time. And
I did too.
Girl, when did you live there?
I went to St. Mary's. My daddy did his residency in Memphis. So
Stop it.
So I went to that little Chi-Chi all-girls school.
St. Mary's School for
Lucky
Wayward
you.
Girls. Yeah.
Yeah. It's where I took ballet and learned to play the violin as a second grader. So it was pretty fancy.
Yeah, it's a great school. Yeah, I actually used to teach down the road at St. George's. So there we are. Look at that.
All the saints.
Yeah. See, okay, so now that you are you were a Southerner, so it seems kind of like you have no choice to be a comic or storyteller because.
Oh, honey, it's not just Southerner. I'm a Jewish lesbian Southerner.
Oh, well, you're
girl.
doomed.
Who went to Catholic school.
What's wrong with this
To
picture?
become a comedian. Yeah.
Of course you're a
It was
comedian.
ingrained in everything I did.
Of course, because y'all prayed crazy around and asked it to sit on the porch with you and have some sweet tea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
How did you get your start in comedy? Because you've been at this for a minute.
Yes, I have. I started doing stand-up when I was 16 years old. My friends, down in Louisiana, you can go to the bar when you can reach the bar. That's the joke. So it's not about you being of age. So when I was 16, me and all my friends were hanging out in New Orleans, and we went to Nick Castro Giovanni's Big Train Bar, and they were having a comedy open mic, and my friends signed me up and didn't tell me. So I had to get up there and tell jokes. And I was 16, and I had a glass of wine, and I was like, woohoo! And I started telling a story about being able to hear my parents have sex through the vents in our house. And it was hilarious. And all my friends went nuts. And the guy who was running the open mic was like, do you want to come back and do it again next Thursday? And I was like, hell yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That was it. I had the bug. I mean, that was like the best high I have ever had in my life.
The rest is history.
Yeah, there is something about that whole the stand-up high is completely different than anything else that I have ever experienced. It's kind of magical.
It's you. You don't have a piano up there or a guitar, a violin. You're not doing ballet. It's just you talking. And when you can command a room like that, it's very exciting.
Yeah. So you've been super duper busy too. I mean, you've been getting all this like TV work. It was so fun. I was looking at you. I'm like, wait, you've been on The Mandalorian? Shut up.
Wow.
Doing all this stuff. Does your brain how does your brain work in terms of, all right, now I'm going to go be an actor as opposed to, and now I'm going to be a stand-up?
Anyone from the South who's processed any amount of childhood trauma is very good at compartmentalizing.
Yes.
So what I do is I sent my manager a picture of my desk, and he was like, "What kind of beautiful mind craziness is going on your desk?" I have index cards, and they're colored for what I need to deal with first, and then what I need to deal with last. And if you're on an orange index card, you're going to get done every day, and things are going to happen. So I really have to focus the night before or the day before on what tomorrow's going to be, and then just kind of hone in on that. And look, some days it's like I'm working on the TV show during the day, and then I've got 2 sets that night at a club, and so I have to super focus because my brain goes everywhere and thinks of everything all at once. So I really have to rein that in. The weed helps.
100%.
Yes, I agree. The weed helps.
We all agree that the weed helps.
A little gummy as a treat when you accomplish something, I think is a good thing.
I agree.
Like right after this show for every Sunday.
So how have you performed in Chicago before, right?
Oh, my gosh. I went to college in Chicago. I attended the theater school at DePaul.
Oh, that is correct.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And I didn't graduate. I just did the 3 years you needed to say you were an actor, and I moved on with my life. They were like, take some math and some science. I was like, I'm good.
And I'd rather not.
I got what I needed. I'm out here. Did you perform?
Exactly. I'm leaving.
Did you?
But I just performed at the last time I was in Chicago. I was at. Oh, my God, it's like one of my favorite venues, and the words are spacing on me right now. It's on Lincoln. It's a big theater. They do lots of stuff there.
Lincoln Lodge?
No, it's not the Schubert either, which is the only thing coming into my head.
It's on Lincoln Avenue. It's a theater? Oh, was it
like Belmont and Lincoln.
The Vic?
The Vic.
The Vic.
There we go. All right.
Is it Belmont and Lincoln, or is that Belmont and Sheffield?
That's Belmont and Sheffield.
But that's good memory,
Okay,
good recall.
go.
That's definitely on an orange index card.
I wish I would have seen you. I live 2 blocks from there. Darn it! Next time.
Oh, see, I was there with the Snap Judgment, that NPR show, did a tour.
Oh yeah,
right before COVID, and we went there and we sold out the Vic. And I used to live at Sheffield and George, and so I would walk past the Vic all the time. And I was like, I remember being in college, like, wrapped up in a coat, like cursing the snow and hating all these Yankee people I had to be around. And I was just thinking, one day I'm going to come back and I'm going to play that big theater and I'm going to rock that mother. And I did,
and
man. I came back there and did the damn thing to a sold-out house. It was amazing.
Well, please come back. Please come back and play the Vic.
Well, she's coming back to be playing at the Metropolis Performing Arts.
Well, that's great too. But I love to see it 4 blocks from my house. I'm not being great.
It's all about Ellen right now and her convenience.
Right, it is about my convenience.
Yeah, parking is a nightmare.
I understand. I am on that little computer thing you have there. You can find me all the time, day or night. I'm there for you.
Oh yeah. Well, and you've got your podcast, Bitchin' Over Biscuits, which I think is the best name ever, because I'm like, yep, I understand it. This is going to be comedy. It's going to be Southern right there.
Yeah. My manager was like, what are you going to do for a podcast? I was like, here's what I'm good at, dude. I'm good at eating and bitching. And he was like, fix that. And I was like, got it.
What a magic formula.
Exactly.
So
you gotta make your mess your message. You know what I mean?
Indeed. How's everything going with the podcast?
Oh, it's so fun. We've only done, we've got about 6 episodes already recorded, and 2 of them have aired. So we try to get ahead of ourselves, because sometimes my travel schedule does not lend me to be able to do something at the same time every week.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's been super fun. Our celebrity guests are a surprise each week. So you never know who we're going to be talking to. And we got some pretty big names on there so far, and I'm really excited. I think people are going to be titillated to see the fun sort of different choices we made with who we got for the show. And it's been super fun. We take a different genre of podcast every week, and that's the kind of podcast we do. So that I figured that way we would get into all the genres and be listed everywhere.
There you go.
That sounds perfect. Good
that is
thinking.
not stinking thinking.
Good thinking.
So we got it.
So, Jen, who are some of the comedy idols that have inspired you over the years?
Oh, girl, Gilda Radner, Carol Burnett, Lily Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just these, juggernauts of women who got out there and did this when it was, I'm sure 800 times more scary than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I didn't watch a lot of stand-up as a kid, right? I just watched TV.
Right.
And so, you know, I wanted to be on the Carol Burnett show. I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. I wanted to be part of that and be in Living Color, you know, when I got, when that came out. Just those sort of shows and I would record them on VHS tapes, and I would watch them over and over again, which, you know, just made my ADD so happy.
Yeah.
And I would just, on repeat, you know, watch these things, or I would get the record. My dad had a record player in our house, and so I got Gilda Radner and Lily Tomlin's records, and I would listen to it. And, you know, I think that really got me into the storytelling, because when you're just listening to something, somebody's doing everything with their voice. And so you get to hear like the rhythm and the musicality of speech, of how people talk, and how that makes something easier to listen to or easier to picture in your head and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
Yeah,
That's how I.
So you said you watched something that you wanted to be. Right now, where you're at, if you look in the future, is there something else that you still would like to attain that you haven't done?
Oh yes, my sitcom is coming.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I
have a great idea, and I am scripting it out now, and it's going to be special. I'm excited.
I'm telling you, you are my sister from another mister.
I can't wait to see that.
It's true, because I mean, just I hear you. The Saturday Night Live was such a huge thing. Lily Tom, like everybody that you just mentioned, Carol Burnett. It was all just like fodder and wonderful. And it's, you know, it's a weird time. Well, I don't know. It's a very interesting time in comedy. Just as a question for you, you know, you alluded to the fact that, like, you know, Lily Tomlin, Carol Burnett, and Gilda Radner, and all these women coming up. How do you feel that the comedy scene has changed for, I don't know, say a Southern Jewish lesbian? You know?
Well, I think that what the scene did to me, and I'm the only person I can really talk about intelligently, but what the scene did to me was it made me. I feel like had I grown up in a San Francisco, a New York, an LA, in one of these bigger cities with a lot more culture exposure, I think I probably my comedy would have been very niche, right? Like it would, I feel like I would have gone, you know, in a different direction. But because I've always been surrounded by hicks, I feel like what I did was I made sure that what I was saying was on some level palpable to a real big number of people, so that I could slip in those more progressive, left-handed things that I wanted to say.
Yeah,
because
good idea.
It was couched in this other thing. And so while I'm sure if I were growing up now, I'd be like, you know, F the establishment and move on with my, you know, I'd have a little shaking fist up in the air and I'd be saying the exact thing I wanted to say. And it's not that I don't say the exact thing I want to say. I just am very aware of how I'm saying it because I want it to be heard.
Yeah. You kind of have to rope them in and then hit them with it, right?
Yes. There's a finesse to it. Yeah. You got it. It's, you know, it's a real good trick I learned when I was selling weed in college, which was,
yeah, I did that too.
Give them a little taste of the good stuff, and then when you got to sneak in some seeds and stems for them, you know.
But in this case, the seeds and stems are really good. It's the good stuff. It's the surprise little nuggets.
You just gotta, you gotta know what to do with them.
Well, yeah, you gotta lure them in with some. Somebody, no matter what I say, it does not matter what I say. Somebody is going to disagree with it and negate my right to even be standing up and saying it. So I might as well do the thing that I want to do and say the thing that I want to say. But what I hope is that people hear what I'm saying, and perhaps if they had heard it from someone else, they would have sort of brushed it off. And because they heard it from like sweet little cherubic me, they were like, oh, I see her point.
Right.
Right? Whether I agree or disagree, I see where this human being is coming from. And so, there's a lot of pushback down here on gender versus sexuality.
Yeah.
And they don't, and I'm saying they, but I would say a vast majority of people especially where I am now, I feel like don't have a grasp of it because there aren't those people coming out everywhere around them like there are in big cities and in bigger places. And I came out when I was in Chicago. I didn't come out down here. I was like, let me get somewhere where people are going to tell me I'm okay.
Yeah.
And like we were literally going to a bar called The Closet.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I was like, there is a metaphor here somewhere.
Right.
But I literally remember saying that to myself when I was a kid. I remember being like, I'm going to come out when I go to Chicago. Because when I was there once, I had family there. And when I was there once visiting my aunts and uncles, I saw a copy of the Windy City Times. Yep. And I was like, what? There's a whole newspaper just for gay people? Like, my heart just lit up. Like, I've never... I was like, oh, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it just assured me that, like, no matter what it was right now, while I'm in the 6th grade and pining after my PE teacher, like, it's going to get better and it's going to be okay. And I'll be able to this was my dream, was to move to Chicago and be gay. Like, it had nothing. It really had nothing to do with anything else.
It happened.
It happened. So,
I achieved my childhood dream.
There we are.
My wife and I love New Orleans. I go to Jazz Fest every year. Jen, I was there for 2 weeks just recently, and I've talked about spending winters down in New Orleans. But are you ever?
If you ever decide, girl, you tell me. I'll hook you up.
All right, thank you. But my question is, are you ever conflicted because? Living in Chicago, thankfully our whole state is blue, mainly because of the large, metropolitan area that is Chicago. But right. I'm conflicted about living in a red state, even though New Orleans is a blue spot.
New Orleans is definitely a blue spot, sort of, where it's blue.
Yeah.
I mean, even New Orleans has a lovely, I like to say New Orleans is purple for Mardi Gras. Mm-hmm. It's just. I am down here because my lady has kids that live in Mississippi with their dad, and so we have to be close enough to. I was like, I am not living in Mississippi.
Yeah, you had to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. Happening. So, I was like, let's move to New Orleans. And she was like, girl, that's a murder capital. I have been living in rural Mississippi. No.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, how about Baton Rouge? And I'm like slowly inching up the I-10. And she was like, okay, Baton Rouge is cool. And my brother and his wife and kids live here. My parents live here.
Okay.
So it seemed like a good little fit.
Yeah.
We got a house in the very next subdivision over from my parents.
Nice.
So it's lovely. And she loves being there. This is what makes her feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I am constantly like, girl, I got to be in L.A. We have a place out there that we just moved into. So, I was living in Santa Monica before.
Oh, beautiful.
And just got another little smaller place with some friends who aren't, we're not there all the time. So let's get a place where we can all, sort of a timeshare.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I mean, it makes
you made it up.
sense.
You made your own timeshare. That's perfect.
Yeah, we made our own timeshare, and it sort of ends up working out for everybody. And
yeah, it sounds like you've
other comedians, and I don't. Because this road life is so severe, I am just not used to being in one place for all the time.
Yeah.
Even in the best case scenario, my manager's like, girl, when you get this sitcom, you're going to have to be in one place for a while. I was like, yeah, but there's weekends. Right? Like,
right.
I gotta go somewhere.
I gotta get out on the weekends.
Yeah.
It's just what's in me to do, and what has been in me to do since I was in high school. I mean, even in high school, I competed in speech. Remember that fun activity?
Oh yeah.
And I traveled every single weekend doing that.
Mm-hmm.
If there were trophies involved, I was going to talk and win them. That was my goal.
What was your event?
At Humorous.
Thank
you.
The
first time I won.
Oh my God!
The first time I won nationals was there in Glendale, Illinois. It's right there in Chicago.
We're the same.
Because I knew I was going to be gay there. It's just going to happen. We have the same birthday.
We are the same person. Is what I'm saying. I'm
telling
you. Yeah, because I came to Chicago to be gay, and I did speech and humorous interpretation with my and
I grew up here and it turned out just that way.
And I also have a real soft spot for the South. Like there are some really beautiful things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. are.
Yeah.
And look, there are progressive people down here.
Yeah, there
and
are.
Truthfully, even the ones that aren't progressive, if you pour a couple of Coors Lights down their throat and start talking to them about your perspective, they're going to see your point, even if it's only while we're all sitting around the campfire. Like, nobody – I feel like I'm sure there are people that would say things behind my back and whatever. That's going to happen no matter what. Mm-hmm. We're in the South. Yeah. But I feel like, to my face at least, I have been very accepted. I've always been out on stage here. I've never, as soon as I knew I was gay, I was telling people I was gay.
Good
so
for
it wasn't, it just was, and nobody's ever, I've had people make mention of things or say stupid comments, but nobody has ever, to my face, been hateful to me about it. Genuinely,
because people, it's the fear of the unknown. If they're looking at somebody and they say they go, well, I really don't care what he or she is because I think they're a good person, but we need to have more people being who their authentic selves are, so we can continue.
I say that in my act. I say, listen, the reason these rednecks don't like gay people is because they don't know any gay people. Yeah. It's easy to hate a word, and it's hard to hate a person.
Amen.
There we go.
That is so true.
Amen. Amen. Well, we cannot wait for you to return to the Chicagoland area so we can love on you and hate on anybody else. You want to make sure that you catch Jen Kober at the Metropolis Performing Arts Center on June 7th. For tickets, go to metropolisarts.com. How can folks follow you on all the socials?
Yeah, it's just my name, Jen, short for Jennifer, Jen, and then my last name is Kober. It's like sober, but with a K.
There we go.
Good.
Well, Jen, it was just lovely chatting with you today. Enjoy your time down in New Orleans, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks up here.
Yes. Y'all save me some pizza.
Done and done.
We will.
I'm coming for that Lumonati's.
My favorite. Might have that tonight even. Great meeting you. We hope to see you in person.
Great meeting you too. I can't wait to make it all happen IRL.
Right on, Jen Kober. Can't wait to see you IRL.
Thanks,
there we are. Take care. Have a fab time in NOLA.